My name is Jennie, and I combed out 14 sets of bugs mating, aka having sexy time on one person's head today.
And I'm Molly. I got impetigo from working at a summer camp, and it spread all over my body. And I mean everywhere.
Ew. It did.
Ew.
She was oozing
Yes,
everywhere.
Hi, I'm Kara, and luckily I haven't combed lice or had impetigo. However, I have had to blow a piece of toast out of my son's nose.
You blew toast out of your son's nose?
Yeah, so Killian, as you know, bless his heart, is quite adventurous, and he went through a phase of sticking things in his nose. And one day, Brian and I were in the living room, and Brian was like, I'm like, what is it? What is it? Something's up there. And he's like, it's toast. It's toast. So it was a total panic because, as you know, the brain is close to the nose and you want to be careful of like what gets shoved up there. So we had to go to the urgent care, and they basically asked me and Brian, my husband, what would be better, who to hold him down and who to blow. So I was like, I'll hold him down because then I like have him look at me in the eye. And then Brian had to close one nostril, like the nostril basically he had to blow air in the other nostril and hope that it popped out the nostril it was in. And it did. He blew the air in, kind of like when you do CPR. Mm-hmm. And the air forced the piece of crust. It came out, and thankfully it came out in one piece, because that's another scare, right? Like if it had broken in half or something.
Wow. The adventures of children.
Listen, this podcast is all about eliminating the idea of asking for a friend, okay? Why do we have to be anonymous on our Facebook groups when this stuff happens to all of us, okay?
Right.
We're all asking the questions. We all want to know things like, what is that rash? Do my kids have lice? Jennie, I ask that a lot.
Yeah, every day. Every day.
Or even things like, is that a black widow or a brown recluse about to eat me?
Okay, so how many times have we gotten those texts? Well, actually, I've gotten the text from both Kara and Jennie about that.
Yes, very true, very true.
But yes, we are going to be discussing those things. And there is nothing that is off limits. There's nothing that's going to be too embarrassing to talk about, because we want to normalize this. We want to make sure that you aren't too embarrassed to contact us and let us know some of your gross moments.
I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun.
I mean, we all love to share our, embarrassing stories via text, right? And laugh all the time.
Yes.
I mean, we've been doing that for years, and I'm sure everyone else does too. I mean, we can't be the only ones doing it. We're not alone. So we know everyone else has to feel that way too. And we've researched the science. We've gotten the facts. We want people to trust in the facts, to know that rash isn't going to take you out, or your kids' stinky feet are not the end of the world. So people don't have to go hide in their beds and look up, what's going on Google all the time. They actually have the facts.
Yeah, Dr. Google is the death of all of us, as we know.
It is.
But, at the end of the day, I mean, Jennie, you're a scientist, and you've been doing this, as your career. And Molly's been working with you for over a decade and has done tons of research. And I, being a producer, have had to be an expert in many fields and done many medical shows. So it's so fun for us all to get together and finally share this. But also, we're going to bring in people from our inner circle who are the experts in everything that is supposedly gross. And they're going to bust the myths for us. They're going to give facts, and they're going to tell us how we can actually handle life's sticky situations, which I think is going to be so fun for our audience.
Right.
Yes.
So I've known Molly and Jennie now for 18 years. My husband has too.
Stop it. It's been that long.
That's that long. I know. It's crazy. And you guys have known each other just a little bit longer than that too, right, guys?
Yeah. So Molly and I, we first met about 26 years ago because we were little pop stars, little pop tarts in the music industry together.
Excuse me, we were babies then.
That's why I called us tarts, because we were babies.
Well, that would be your girls' band called Intrigue with a Y.
It's INTRYGUE. Yes. Intrigue.
Everybody knows it's with a Y. I just want you to know, write that down. It's a Y.
Yes.
All right. So since you guys know each other a little bit longer than I know you guys, why don't you take us all back to the intrigue days?
So we were out with the Backstreet Boys and other pop groups from the late 90s to the early 2000s. And I mean, really, even since our music days, we've had a lot of gross moments even then.
Well, I mean, we really have, from the tour bus stories to backstage, just stinky clothing and things like that. There's been all kinds of gross moments in our music careers.
Molly, we can't just say the tour bus. We need to know what was stinky in the tour bus.
Well, I mean, there's always, stinky clothes. And there was one particular bus where we gave the bus driver some supplies to wipe down the stripper pole.
What?
That was on one of the buses. We did. So
because we didn't want to sit on those seats without them being wiped down where that pole was.
No. So it was kind of things like that we had to.
Because the pole was being used on tour. I gotcha.
Not by us.
Not by us.
Let's clarify that.
Well, there are three of us in the group, and it was myself and Molly and our other best friend, Megan. AKA Little Bag. Shout out to her. And I can remember one of the stories from back then is that we were hearing our song at the opening of the Backstreet Boys concert in Madison Square Garden. So that was absolutely surreal. Yep, to hear our song played before the concert started. And I can remember seeing the glow sticks. You remember that everyone would have the little glow sticks in the concert, and they would be pumping their glow sticks to the beat of our song. It was so much fun.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Jennie. Now I got to ask, can you please sing us a hook of this song? What is it? What was the song? We need to know.
It was called Where Are You Going? And all right, let me see if I can remember. It went, I want you to want me, baby. Want you to want me, baby. Want you to want me, baby. And then it was, where are you going? I want to be with you. Where are you going? Take me with you. Something like that.
Get the glow sticks out. Get the glow sticks out.
So amazing. But you know what's even more amazing? I happen to have all your old songs. So we're going to play that one right now.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Want you to want me, baby. 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 Where are you going? I want to be with you. Where are you going? Take me with you.
So good. It's so good. It's so good.
We wrote that song in about 10 minutes.
We did. We did. So 90s.
So 90s good. I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
Speaking of the 90s, that happens to be Jennie's favorite era. We know, right, Molly?
Are we talking about Jennie's wardrobe from the 90s?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Yeah. She loves it. I mean, I think we had to stop you from wearing a choker today, correct?
You did. I love my chokers, I must admit. But hey, you know, the 90s are still, that's hot to me.
I mean, the 90s are definitely coming back. So I'll give you that kudos. But the funny thing is that people need to know you've been waiting for like 20 years for the 90s to come back, right? Like in 25 years now.
Well, it's not that Jennie's waiting for it. It's just that Jennie does not like to go shopping.
Yes,
that's
true.
The issue is that, you know, she's not waiting for the 90s to come back. She just does not like to go shopping. She hates it, as a matter of fact.
So the stuff that we're seeing is literally from the 90s in her closet.
Probably.
A lot of it, except for the Lice Ladies t-shirts.
Yes, she loves her Lice Lady t-shirt. Getting you out of that, it's pretty hard, huh?
It is. It is. I do hate to shop. I don't have time to shop, but really more so, let me just be honest, I hate shopping. I hate all the styles, and I'd rather just look like I did in the late 90s and early 2000s. Give me my go-go boots, people.
Yeah, your wet seal days. I remember being on the phone with you and you're like, I'm in wet seal right now.
right. Before I came to LA, I had just spent, like $100 in Body Central, which you could buy like 10 outfits for $100 in the Body Central. And then you were like, Jennie, you need to go get a jacket and these shoes. And so I called you from Wet Seal.
I remember I was like, walk out the door. I need you to walk out the door of Wet Seal. I was like, is there an Anthropologie anywhere nearby?
And I was like, what is that?
You know what? At the end of the day, kudos to you that at 30, you could wear Wet Seal, right?
Right.
We had to lie about our age. Yeah, we had to lie about our age anyway. That was still in the whole era of every female in the industry had to lie about their age, and
Yeah.
So
I remember lying to be older when I started directing, and then getting to an age where I was like, oh, now I'm just going to take 2 years off my age. Like, it was like, you can't win. You know what I mean? Like, it's at first because I was like, I couldn't say I was like 22 years old. And like, I mean, a director, right. No one's going to want to hire me. So I'd lie and be like, I'm 27. And then like when I hit 30, I was like, I'm 28. Yeah, it was like this whole.
I think I was 26 in the music industry for like 15 years.
Right.
I remember from back then too, when we were backstage. Do you remember this, Molly? The first time that we met NSYNC in person.
Of course. I remember I remember it was at the Fox Theater in downtown Atlanta. And it was the tour that Britney was opening for NSYNC. And we were fortunate enough to have Johnny Wright. He actually invited us to come and take a look at their sound check. And he was always very much about the business of music. And he wanted us to watch and kind of learn from the sound check. And what did we learn from sound check, Jennie?
Well, we learned that it is a serious business and you better practice and be on your A game, because Johnny Wright yelled at Justin Timberlake. He got in trouble.
It's amazing.
We were so nervous though when he first got in trouble, and we're just kind of sitting there, sinking lower into our seats. And I mean, but you think about it, they're selling out these big stadiums and arenas, and Johnny Wright wanted us to know that it's a cutthroat business. It's not just about being famous.
But wait a minute, what did he get in trouble for? We need to know.
He got in trouble because he was horsing around with the harmonies, and also some of his dancing was not on par. And so he was kind of messing it up for everyone else. And Johnny Wright had no problem yelling at him and getting on him. And, when these things would happen, Johnny Wright would like look at us and say, do you girls understand why I'm doing this? Do you understand that this is a business and that people are paying their hard-earned money to come and watch you perform? So if you want to be in this business, you really have to treat it as a business. Now, we had a lot of fun, but we also learned a lot about just being businesswomen and really taking what we do seriously, and that you could still have fun in the music industry, but you also had to learn that it was a business.
Yeah, or a lot of people depend on you. Like if you mess up your dance move, everybody else is going to mess up.
Absolutely.
A lot of people depend on the performers, especially, we ended up watching many sound checks, and, we had to go in and watch it from 8 a.m. up until the performance, because we were told, listen, there are a lot of people here that depend on you for their livelihood. And there are a lot of people that it takes a lot to put on a show. I think people don't realize how many people it takes to put on a show and how hard people work to do that.
It's the same thing in television and film. There's so many people involved in, making the final product that people forget, how many moving parts and how everyone's dependent on it, and how important it is. If one moving part is out of sync, right? It's just not going to happen the way it should. And it's not going to be executed in a timely manner. And there's a lot of things can fall apart. But what I think is really funny is the turn here, because Jennie, obviously, and Molly too, but like Jennie especially, like you're going from being this like Pop-Tart. Is that how we say it? Pop-Tart? Little Pop-Tarts in the business? Yeah, when you started in the business. But to becoming a scientist, right? I mean, we've been friends a long time, but like what was that moment, that time that you were like, okay, I'm going to become a scientist. I'm no longer, going to pursue the pop world. I want to be a scientist.
So I've always been interested in science, and my undergrad was in biology. I actually worked at a vet for a long time while I was an undergrad. So I got to see all sorts of fun and interesting and gross things, even learning parasites to look at under the microscope and assisting in surgeries. And then after the music industry, I went on to get my master's in biology. And I went on to write a continuing ed course during that time on all of the species of lice. I knew a few people that were doing a job like the Lice Ladies at the time. And so I thought it was very interesting. And there was a university who needed a continuing ed course. And sometimes you can write for textbooks or continuing ed if you have a master's. So I was doing that. And as I was researching the head lice part and then reading about the pesticide resistance of head lice, I thought, oh, well, this sounds like fun. I think I'm going to have to be the Lice Ladies.
When you're in the entertainment industry, I think you also have to make sure that you have a good backup plan.
Yeah.
And so we all three of us, we made sure that basically we were CYA, covering our asses, to make sure that we had another backup plan should music fall through. Because as Kara, in the entertainment industry, nothing is guaranteed. So you've got to make sure that you've got something to fall back on.
Just to add to that, Molly, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like in television and film, the way we do it is like, I always tell people, you got to wear many hats and make sure you know every aspect, whether you're trying to be on camera or the director or whatever it might be, to cover your butt, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's not like under other industries where it's like, this is my job and I'm going to continue to do it no matter what for 40 years.
Absolutely. And historically during that time too, when we kind of made the switch, is when everything was going digital in the music industry. So, whereas the record labels would put a lot into developing an artist and printing your CDs and you going to sign autographs at, the FYE store, like I used to do, it all was going digital. Yeah. It all went digital.
Yeah.
So everything changed for us at that time. And so that's why we had our backup plan, which turned out to be lice.
Because you love lice. Because you love lice, Jennie.
And then things started taking off and it was a lot busier, a lot faster than I thought it would be. And I was starting to develop the product line because I wasn't happy with what we were using. And it just became so overwhelming with trying to work the business, run the business, and develop the products. So I literally called up Molly one day at work and I said, Hey, dude. And I said, do you want to come pick some lice with me?
And I said, sure, dude. It's got to be better than marketing in corporate America right now. So, okay.
So we were able to develop the product line. It took a couple of years and we started thinking about franchising the business. And that's actually the time when we met Kara.
Yes. Well, Molly actually, because I had a former life too as a handbag designer as well during TV. And Molly actually helped in a couple of events with her marketing genius in our handbags. But I remember the call specifically when I knew that you were all in at lice and that, right? And I got a call from a mutual friend that we have. And she was like, hey, that Jennie's got this whole this lice business. It's going to blow up and it's great. And you need to meet and talk about it and XYZ. And then we started chatting and I got itchy right away.
Of course,
as everyone does.
When you started saying it. But yeah, it was hilarious and exciting. And, and that's how we ended up deciding, like, let's try to pitch it as a TV show because it was such a out of the box thinking. And it was like, hey, wait a minute, let's take this out. And we did. We made a sizzle. Yeah. Remember the sizzle?
Yes. So funny.
Yes.
I haven't seen it since we first did it, I don't think.
Oh, well, don't worry.
Do we have it?
Oh, we have it. Don't worry. It's going on the website, unfortunately, for all of us. This is a very long time ago.
This has to do it again.
This is probably 13 years ago, maybe more. I can't write 12 or 13, long time ago, right? And so
at least, yes.
At least, I don't know the exact math, but yeah, it's going on the website. But what was hilarious about the sizzle, first of all, I got to go in the studio with you guys. And do you remember that?
I forgot that you did.
Yes.
You went while we recorded our theme song for the sizzle.
Well, we recorded the theme song for the sizzle. And then afterwards, it was like a freestyle with other artists. And like you guys were all, right? So I actually got to hear you jam with some of the local, Atlanta peeps, Is that, doing the whole thing.
Tin Man, one of the rappers.
Tin Man was there. Yeah, Tin Man was there.
Tin Man.
Tin Man's like blowing up now, isn't he? Like again, I've been
He
seeing some stuff with Tin
is.
Man. Yeah. But I
He
remember
is,
we
yes.
were all like hanging out. We were popping bottles. And then after that, it was funny because we put it all together and you came out to LA, right, Jennie? And we were going to take it to the networks, which we did. And every time we went into a network meeting, immediately, right, the people started scratching their heads, right?
They did.
They started scratching their heads. But they were so interested in what we were talking about. And I remember, most importantly, there was one of the network executives' kids got lice, right? Told us the story and then called me like a week or two later and was like, hey, we got lice again. And you were like, it wasn't, well, you figured out it wasn't that they had gotten it again, actually, is that they had never properly, they were using like a drugstore product or something like that.
Right. They were using over-the-counter pesticide and it was the same infestation that they never actually got rid of. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, wait, we're on to something. And then we got so close with TLC. And do you remember what happened?
I remember they thought it was a little too gross.
Right. They thought it was TLC thought it was too gross, which is so funny. Now look at TLC. I mean, I think that anything gross, but that's the evolution of how really we started visiting this idea again, right? Because we're like, these are the things that are taboo that nobody wants to talk about and they should. And so many people wanted the information, right? And, it cut to many, many years later and we're, still having fun.
Okay. So Kara, you have worked in TV, production, film, all this stuff for what, 25 plus years?
Yeah. Almost 26. Yeah.
And wasn't it when we first met, you were working with Chelsea Handler on Girls Behaving Badly.
I had just finished Girls Behaving Badly not too long before. Yes. That was a really, really fun show. And
yes. And I mean, were there any gross moments on there that you can remember? Or how many?
There were a lot of, when that whole show was about women getting to go play pranks on, a lot of times men, but other women too. Yeah. It was super fun. There were a ton of gross moments on that show, I'm sure. I think we played some pretty gross. Oh, I know what. Oh, I've got a great one. And I think we have a picture. We can put on the website. One of the shticks that the bit was about was that it was breast milk cheese.
What?
The joke was people were coming in and they were going to try like a cheese tasting or something. And it was breast milk cheese. And so to make it seem realistic, I was like in like a lederhosen or whatever, or not. What was the girl version? We have the skirt. Is a lederhosen?
Are you talking about like the German?
Yeah.
Yeah, like at Oktoberfest.
Yeah. And I was holding a fake baby up to my boob as like the spokesperson in the picture.
What?
For the breast milk cheese prank. True story. So that was a pretty funny, gross moment.
Okay, that one's pretty good.
And then seeing people like taste the cheese and, then find out, oh, what is in it? It's like breast milk.
So actually coming out of the entertainment world, all this stuff, Kara, were you not just at a royal wedding?
Yes, it was absolutely beautiful. My dear friend married the Princess of Norway.
The craziest thing is that I was listening to the Jeff Lewis podcast, which I love. He's hilarious. And he was describing, he had the guest on that you actually met. Yeah. And you told us the stories before I even heard it on the podcast.
Yes. Cynthia Bailey and I,
yes.
we were hanging out at my friend married the Princess of Norway, as you know, and it was so much fun. But I think it's hilarious that she shared the same story that I had told you about, like you're hanging out and you don't know that you're talking to the Swedish royalty too, and making jokes. And then you're like, uh-oh, that was actually royalty.
Well, and she kept saying, I was talking to someone and she was relaying the exact story that you told us. So obviously she was talking to you about it.
And on top of that, like just to bring it back to the gross, like another thing for me was like, there were all these gorgeous gowns that there were events every day. And it was so beautiful, that what my friend
and your gown was gorgeous.
Thank you.
You looked like a princess.
You looked incredible.
Thank you so much. It's very layered. There's a lot of layers.
Okay. So at the wedding, were there any gross moments that happened?
For me, yes. I don't think for any, just personally for me, there was nothing gross about the wedding whatsoever. It was amazing, but I had no gross moment for sure. So I have to pee really bad. And I have this gown on, and I have on a bodysuit underneath that's kind of like a, like a suck it all in sort of girdle bodysuit. But it's not Spanx, so it doesn't have the direct like pee-pee slit. It's the one you kind of have to snap and do yoga if you're going to pee.
Right.
You know what I mean? To unsnap when you go to the bathroom.
Very
So I
uncomfortable.
got into the bathroom and the the snap got stuck. I mean, we've all been there. Like the snap is stuck. You're like, do I keep doing yoga and like risk one, my dress getting in the toilet, right?
No, we can't have that.
You can't have that happen, right? And two, like, am I going to pull my shoulder out because I am in my late 40s? Now trying to get this thing. So you have to take that chance where you sort of like pull it over. Have you ever done that and done the hover? And you try to like hope that no pee gets on you?
Right. So what happened?
Well, I think you know.
Did it happen?
Yeah, it's just I had a little tinkle of a situation that I was like freaking out about.
You had just a little sprinkle?
I had a little sprinkle problem.
A little sprinkle. Okay. Did it get on the dress?
It did not get on the dress, but it did get on the leg and the shoe.
Well, that just goes to show that the gross things happen to everyone.
Even at royal weddings.
You know what? We need to do a tinkling ourselves episode because, I mean, why is it that after a certain age, whether you've had babies or not, some women's bladders are weaker than others, especially when you giggle? So this is what our podcast is about. And we want to hear from you. We want to know your personal stories, answer your icky or burning questions. So please join our Gross community at ogross.com. That's OHGROSS.com. That's right. From your Gross sprinkle tinkle
to the unknown rash
and week-old leftovers. These are often misunderstood topics that make you say, wait, is this true?
Yeah. And for some reason, we all feel more comfortable posting on Facebook what something is than literally asking the experts or going to the source.
Right. And this is just something that we want it to feel normal. And we want to make sure that no one is feeling awkward or embarrassed about any story.
And come back tomorrow for our premiere episode of
Oh, gross.
Oh, gross. The drama's about to end.